Hello, ActiveSage here on the Sage channel, and what you see before you is sort of the love child of the completely random large drone, or similar to the very similar to the Skew, a more recent ship I made, and the recent flying brick of doom that I put out. I believe I named it the Two-Shot. This is basically if I took those two concepts and ideas and smashed them together. What this is a large weapon at the front right here. You can see all these lovely modded cannons. And then if we were to fly down the whole thing, you'll notice that this ship is a bit of an oddity in the fact that it's a lot of just floating ribbing and almost cathedral-esque architecture. Even a lot of this right here, where it's armor to protect those thrusters, which you only need one little opening to get the thrust through, but it's hovering above said thrusters, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for anything to really shoot them. In fact, the whole ship here is basically designed with this principle of lots and lots of floating sort of ribs, just like the Skew and the completely random large drone CRLD that I put out ages and ages ago. For the ship's main propulsion, we just fly them through past some ion thrusters, but we do have these large thrusters here to help the ship strafe, as well as a huge assortment of hydrogen tanks behind them. On the tops and bottoms of each line of hydrogen tanks, there are hydrogen generators, or gas generators as they should be called, or really just called oxygen generators, I believe. And if we were to go ahead and fly past all of this, you'll see that we have more ion thrusters behind ion thrusters here, perfectly spaced out to ensure they do not burn through one another. As I mentioned, this ship has a main pipe that runs down the whole center of it. This is a heavy armor sort of central line of the ship. That's where all the main components are, as well as these thrusters here and here, including some jump drives if we were to fly all the way back to this point right here. To better describe this, I've gone and made some cutaways so I can fly up to these sons of guns here. And you can see that I've removed all of the light armor from the top area. So now you can see all the turrets set up right here. I keep wanting to call them turrets. The cannons, all the thrusters stuck in all over the place, and the fact that there is a huge amount of heavy armor butting up against them with a tiny little bit of light armor just butting them, well, sort of making a buffer zone between the heavy armor and the actual center, as well as between each of the thrusters. And then we have this huge central block right here where all of our hydrogen stuff actually connects into it, and this is where our storage is, as well as our main control stuff like that. And to get a better look at that, we can fly up here to where I've cut away even more stuff, and you'll see that between all of these thrusters, we have lots and lots of gyroscopes. And then what is this that we see here? Well, this is a beautiful set of 4 large reactors that are mirrored on the other side by another 4 large reactors, as well as, of course, this huge line of just gyroscopes and piping that leads out to the turrets themselves, or the cannons as they should be called. Anyway, if you want to see what's inside this, we're actually going to go ahead and look at that by going through the very back of the ship. So this is where we are. We're going to pop this door open, and this actually leads us down that long hallway right there. So pop in here, close that door, head ourselves all the way down here past our antennas, nestled between these jump drives. Pop this door open and head into the central shell here, which, by the way, we do actually have. If you fly through this little tiny opening right here, we do actually have 2 oxygen tanks here mirrored on the other side, and then mirrored down here on the bottom for a total of 8 oxygen tanks. So the ship, even if it loses all of those oxygen generators on the edges of the hydrogen tanks outside, will still manage to have some oxygen for the living members inside here. And if we pop this door open, you'll notice that right away we actually have a little bit of gravity. So you can see gravity set to pretty much only affect actually this central shell, basically. So once we get in here, we're safe to go. And then we can pop this open, and we actually have oxygen in here. There we are. Oh dearie, come on, open this up. There we go. So this whole area here is pressurized, and it's a pretty nice area, and it's all airtight. We even have a little bridgeway to divide up the forward and back sections of it, where we do indeed have a working medical bay, and you'll notice that we do have 3 cockpits. are out here. One there, and one there, rather obviously. And the idea there is if one of these somehow finds itself destroyed, you can respawn right here and hop into another one and keep fighting. The timer blocks here are all to set up a strafing, not a strafing, what is this? A staggered firing of those large modded cannons at the front of the ship to ensure that they will not blow each other up, because they're a little rather unfortunate thing is that if we were to select those large cannons at the front of the ship and go ahead and fly ourselves away from that, which is actually a beautiful, beautiful shot to see it all cut away like that. I absolutely adore that. And bring ourselves back over here. We can go ahead and pull the trigger and hold it down. And it takes a second for it to fire its next shot. But you'll see that some of these are going to hit each other as they go past. So there, a huge explosion right next to us. So unfortunately these aren't super accurate, so some of the missiles or shells or whatever you wish to call them will run into one another and cause explosions. This is actually a problem that was, well, present in my two-shot craft, which people weren't too keen on. And they told me add some timers and stagger those sons of guns. Sons of buns, oh dearie. So that's exactly what I've done. So now I've turned that on, and you'll see they're firing as such. Firing rate's a bit quicker, but they're basically firing like the bottom left and then the bottom right in their beautiful little pulsating lights in here. And now you'll be able to see that these are flinging them out at a target. Now, we should probably press our number 1 with a super fuzzy aiming system and aim ourselves up here actually at the target. And they're not super accurate, unfortunately, but now they are pretty much aimed at this, and you can see we're starting to make some impacts. So let's go ahead and turn all those off really quickly with our number 4 button. Wait for all that to stop, and actually let's hold our left mouse button with number 2 selected, and it'll just fire the big barrage. And the big barrage, remember, a lot of these are going to destroy each other on their way here, but you do get this sort of just big impacts every now and again like that. Whereas when we turn on the more automated staggered firing system, you're going to see a notable change in the fact that they're probably going to be hitting a little bit closer together, it seems, but it's more of a consistent hit as well. Oh, and I forgot to actually start them up again. So any second now you should see incoming fire in that staggered formation, which also in theory should help you aim, because you'll be able to say, hey, am I actually hitting you? Am I actually getting near you? And you'll actually be able to follow those hits. Of course, your enemy might say, no, you're nowhere near me when you are hitting, so it's all up to you to use your eyes and track those impacts. And you can see that you can actually fire this damn thing, these modded weapons, from 3,000 or so meters away. In fact, we can follow some of the misses here. So there's a miss right there, and it goes all the way out to, still going, there. So all the way out to here. So you can actually fire these from roughly 6,000 meters out. Your accuracy is going to be, 6,000 meters out. Your accuracy isn't going to be the best in the world, but you are going to be able to launch an attack on your enemy from this distance. Pretty damn awesome, I personally think. And you can see we're slowly starting to make our way through here, breaking apart pieces of this from afar. Anyway, let's move on. I do actually have another ship here. It's the same ship, but it's a vanilla build, a zero mods build right here. So you can see at the front, very similar, except for it's got, oh my god, very dark. It's got the standard rockets right here. And we can even go ahead and fly ourselves in there. We'll actually press F to hop out of the cockpit of the other ship. Control spacebar to teleport ourselves in there, hop into the cockpit, and now we can go ahead and do a number 2 and hold down the trigger and fire these sons of guns. That is a lot more firepower. Now the problem is with these, for one, in a second here, they're going to go into a, hey, we're all reloading, which isn't really too bad, but for 2, and this is the main issue, is that they have a relatively limited range in comparison to those, which that's basically at halfway range right now where those those cannons are hitting the target, whereas this is only going a third of the distance to the target, and it's at its maximum distance. So with that in mind, we're going to go ahead and take this ship up closer and do a quick impact run just to compare the two of them and see how much damage we can indeed do. In fact, we can even disable our inertial dampeners while we're flying and use those large side thrusters to strafe ourselves about a bit quicker and get us to our target sooner. And I do love the way that looks. And look at that, we can even aim ourselves a bit more to the left. We'll even turn on our inertial dampeners again so we're not drifting too oddly. There we go. How far are we out? Still not close enough. We're about halfway there now, 1,000 meters to go. I think that should do. We'll let the inertial dampeners start slowing us down. We'll do our number 1 so we can actually aim, even though it's blurry as all hell. And we'll, unfortunately there's a little issue with these missiles still. They sometimes blow up right in your face and can damage your own systems. But there you go, you can see now we're actually able to, when they're not hitting into our own ship's walls and causing me to stutter all over. You can see they're actually able to release a shocking amount of firepower. If only they would stop blowing up my own damn ship and actually... Yeah, it's taking out the camera now. Bloody hell. Absolutely hopeless, those things, when you cluster them together like that and they happen to hit everything. But hey, they have a huge amount of firepower if you can actually bring them to bear on your target, which unfortunately does mean you have to usually get pretty damn close to begin impacting target. Also, bit of an issue with them, you can't actually see them right now. Even though you see the explosions, they are firing, so it does make it nigh impossible to aim these short of actually using a camera, I find. And also, let's go ahead and bring up the other one that's firing. Let's not take the time of flying it up here. You've seen how this ship flies. The interior workings of these are pretty much exactly the same. Only difference is that the one we're inside right now, this one here, doesn't have the timer blocks and just has these pillars in it. But we don't need that right now. We need to fly up and hop inside of our cockpit in the original splitter, as the ship is called, since it's going to split to pieces, similar to the skew when it originally fought Zoc. I'm not sure I have for putting out any footage of that, but I did fight Admiral Zoc, and that skew of mine, sort of like the sea... I think I fought him with it. Anyway, it breaks up. That's the main idea of that. And there you go. Now we can see we're aiming at a much closer target. And look, you can actually see the missiles flying for their whole way, which is pretty awesome. And you can even aim down here and start firing at a moving target. Pretty awesome. I'm very happy with this overall. Very, very happy with it, honestly. And of course, the best thing about this is we could sit this ship a million miles away and just slowly bombard any target. Only limit we're going to have then is the fact that we might run out of ammo before doing enough damage. Closing in, though, I think we're doing a nice amount. Anyway, guys and gals, that is that for this ship. Thank you a bunch for watching. I hope you found this somewhat interesting. And if you'd like to get your hands on either version of this ship, it'll be up on the Steam Workshop for your pleasure, so you can go ahead and download this son of a gun and mess around yourself. Anyway, guys, I hope you liked it. Thanks so much for watching again, and I'll see you guys next time. Ta-ta. Can't see him after 2 feet, Zoc. Can't see him after 2 feet.